Hi, everyone. We're back. Did you miss us? Of course you did.
I missed me.
Wendy was on vacation. She is back. But today is Women's Equality,
That's
National
right.
Women's Equality Day. And we have two wonderful guests that we're featuring. Part of what we do is in our mastermind groups that we are always promoting. You need to be in a group of like-minded individuals.
Mhm,
We're
mhm.
able to be friends with some really smart individuals, and we've brought them on today. So,
And they're women.
Yes,
You didn't mention that.
that's the theme. So on National Women's Equality Day, I have two men that are coming on the show
to talk about women.
Anyway, more on that right after this.
Nifty.
I tell you, I'm ever impressed with our changing graphics.
Yes.
Yeah, they look good.
Thanks again for joining us on the Passive
Aggressive show.
Passive Accredited Investor Show. We are Carolina Capital Management, and we are lenders in the Southeast for real estate investors. If you're interested in borrowing money, go to carolinahardmoney.com and hit the Apply Now tab. If you're a passive investor looking for passive returns, click the Accredited Investor tab. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, and please sign up with Wednesday with Wendy. So Wendy gives up every Wednesday afternoon to anyone who wants to talk real estate with her. Her calendar is booked into October. So there's the link. Get on as soon as you can. You don't have to talk about real estate, but you're wasting your time if you.
Because I don't know about anything else.
You can offer some things on homesteading.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, taking care of my hobby farm.
Yeah.
We can do that.
That's right. So we have a comment section, questions, comments, if you have any for us or our guests.
And I promise Wendy won't make any more comments
It's
about California. Sorry.
I made somebody mad in our last show about California.
Yeah, she was digging on California.
I wasn't digging. I just said somebody apologized for their state when I first met them. That was appropriate.
She just doesn't dislike it.
That's right. It's not that I dislike it at all. I just think the government's crazy over there. But
all right.
it is everywhere.
It's not very investor friendly, I can tell you that. But you can make a lot of money there, that's for sure. So the comment section is either on the right side or underneath your screen, depending on the platform that you're viewing us from. So without any further ado, we have two wonderful guests. I have to put on my reading glasses. Heather Dreves. She's the Director of Funding at Cogo Capital Corp. She's been in the private money industry for over 15 years and has held her 63 series license. That means she has a broad view of investing.
Yeah, she's bona fide.
Heather has been in underwriting. She's experienced in all parts of this business. She's managed the servicing team over at Cogo Capital as well. In addition to being in investor relations, she's on the board of advisors for the National Lending Experts, and she is a real estate investor as well. She is in the very hot market of Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Every time I'm listening to the business channel, they're promoting Coeur d'Alene, Idaho as one of the fastest growing, hottest markets in the country.
I just drove by there.
And just as on a personal note, like when I have a question about anything that has to do with lending, she's probably in my top 3 people that I go ask the question to.
Mm-hmm.
So she's very knowledgeable, extremely knowledgeable.
Excellent. We also have Kristy Moore. She is the founder and principal broker of Local Expert Realty, Local Expert Staging, best-selling author. She's also a real estate investor. She's had lots of fix and flips and multifamily. Boy, does she have some stories. She is in the ever and always hot market of the DC metro area.
That's a good one.
Ladies, welcome to the show.
There they are.
Eventually you'll show up.
Yeah.
Hi.
It was a long way from the green room.
Yeah.
So, Heather, let me start with you just because you're on the top of the screen and right beside of me. So how'd you get started in the real estate business anyway?
Well, honestly, I kind of fell into it. My parents were involved in investing in real estate, so it always was an interest of mine. But I had a very good friend that was in the private money industry. And honestly, I stayed home with our kids till they were in elementary school, and then decided I was going back out into the workplace. And he asked me to come on board and kind of just started from the ground up from the private money, lending industry, and saw that there was just so much opportunity with that, whether that was for, funding deals as far as purchasing real estate goes, or actually investing and passively creating some wealth for yourself. So just very interested in it, and just saw all the doors that it opened and the opportunities that were out there, not only for myself, but to also help clients with that. So honestly, it was kind of by luck. And then just found that, it was my passion. I actually was it's funny you say that they will drag you back into this industry. I was going to get out of it after 2008, and was lucky enough to meet Lee Arnold, and was brought right back into the industry. And, I'm very thankful for that. My husband and I are active real estate investors ourselves now, and I just really enjoy helping our clients, create passive income for themselves.
And as a side note, you just bought a utility shed to move into.
Yeah, and super exciting today, my utility shed is getting cabinets. I have been living off of a folding table, a toaster oven, and a Traeger for 3 months. I've been washing dishes in my bathroom sink. So yes, we're living the North Idaho dream. We're living in a 900 square foot pole barn.
Lovely.
We downsized from 5,000 square feet and, suburbia life. And we're just, we're living off the grid. So it's amazing that I get to work put together, because it's quite a task.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Kristy, you have had quite the journey in real estate. I know it started off in the mortgage industry, during that fun time in 08 and 09, right?
Yeah, I actually was probably a part of the housing crash, because I was doing subprime loans.
So it was your fault.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Well, the funny thing is, I talked to one of our mortgage reps, and I was like, I don't know who's giving these people these loans. I don't understand. I would never loan them a dime. I don't know who's doing this. And he was the one that told me they were chopping them up and selling them on the stock market. And I was horrified. I just realized, like, this is not going to end well. So I actually got out of all of my investments in 2007. And so I was a little bit protected in 2008 when, the market crashed. I lost a bunch of money in deposits, but I didn't lose nearly as much money as, most people did during that time. So I got a little bit lucky there, but I've been in real estate pretty much my whole life. My mom taught herself how to fix up houses by going to the library and checking out books. And I watched her fix up a ghetto house that we grew up in, and they made a huge profit. And that's what took us to the suburbs. So, I kind of saw that whole journey with fixing up houses and how that could generate, income and wealth. And that's how I got started in the business. And I've done a lot of different things in real estate. So it's definitely been quite the journey.
See, there was a way to learn how to fix up a house before YouTube, wasn't there?
Yeah, it was called the library.
So I see you bought your first home when you were 23, and you totally remodeled it. I actually had you beat. I bought my first house at 19. The difference was I just made it worse. I didn't.
You had a motorcycle in the living room for years.
It was not in the living room.
That's right. It was in pieces in the living room and the dining room and the kitchen.
No, it was not. It was in the entry foyer. The motor to my Volkswagen Baja buggy was in the living room.
Oh, okay. I got that mixed up. Sorry.
Did you sell it for a profit though?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
And you did.
What was interesting, when I bought it, Jimmy Carter was president, and the going interest rate from my FHA loan was 14.5%.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
And but I got state bond money, and the way now state bond money, they'll subsidize your down payment. And back then they subsidized your interest rate. And it was a non-qualifying FHA loan. So as soon as I bought the house,
Which is why he got it.
anyway, they subsidized my interest rate. I was only paying 7.25%.
Oh, wow.
But I immediately started getting letters in the mail from people that wanted to buy my house with so much money down, and they would just take over my payments, obviously. So even when the interest rates were in double digits, there were still people in the real estate investing business.
No doubt.
So since this is Women's Equality Day, Wendy, would you like to
I
participate?
was wondering if he was going to take a breath. So one of the things that I think is so kind of funny, I should say, is that that we have a Women's Equality Day, because in my opinion, every day's Women's Equality Day, right?
Exactly.
And I'm
When you work with fine gentlemen like us.
that's what makes it all happen. So the thing that I think is unusual is I've never felt through my whole career, I've never felt as if I was being pushed down or dragged down or held down because I was a female. And I think it's because of maybe the type business I've been in. You know, when you're in sales, you eat what you kill. So, you know, you've got that going for you. But I never felt held down or held back. Did either of you go through anything like that?
Heather.
Well, I think it's interesting because, you know, this is a conversation that we have at our office, and it is kind of a man's world, but I don't even recognize or acknowledge that until someone says it to me. And I have to tell you, I was raised by a Marine Corps pilot. He had 3 girls, and he raised us like a drill sergeant. And, you know, he was just really, hey, you want something, you need to work for it. No one's going to give you anything. So I don't even acknowledge that. But when you look around, there's very few women in the industry, especially as a fund manager, you know, in the private money space. And, you know, you go to Collective Genius, go to Freedom Founders, most trust advisors are men, you know, and so it doesn't seem to affect me, and I don't feel like I've ever been held back for it. I do think there's a lot of opportunity for women. I get a lot of our clients that really like actually speaking to a woman, opposed to, no offense, Bill and Jonathan, but females, you know, and so it's interesting.
That is. How about you, Kristy?
I will say so I worked for a very large mortgage company, which shall remain nameless since they're still in the business, and they're giant. And while it didn't affect my income because I was in sales and I was one of the top producers in the company, it definitely affected my ability to get promoted. All the team leaders were male. It was very male dominated. There were no female team leaders at the time. And that's actually kind of what drove me to go out on my own, because I just realized, you know, if I wanted to do what I wanted to do, I had to make my own path. And I grew up with 11 uncles, 2 older brothers. I was raised like a boy, kind of. So, you know, I never felt internally like I was at a disadvantage, but I definitely saw it out there. And I had only experienced, you know, that world for a few years. And I've always kind of taken being a woman as an advantage in the market because it's different. And I've always, you know, used it to my advantage. So I think that I definitely see it, and I've experienced it, and I've definitely experienced it from buying properties in commercial real estate. Like my first office complex that I bought, the owner wouldn't even address me. He would only address my male business banker. He wouldn't even look at me in the eye. The whole time I'm asking him questions and he's answering the guy who's sitting next to me. But again, I used that to my advantage. I mean, I knew that that was going to help me kind of negotiate a better deal. And I brought a gentleman with me when I was touring the property because I just had this feeling he was an old white guy. No offense to all of y'all, but and an attorney, and he called his wife.
Like an old white guy, huh?
I've definitely experienced, and then I also had, when I was going to buy my first commercial property, when I told the male broker what I wanted, he actually said, well, honey, this is when you would tell your clients they're being unrealistic. And I've had contractors treat me differently, where they tell me they don't want me to break a nail. I mean, it's like ridiculous. But again, I've just kind of never let it bother me. I just keep moving forward. It is what it is. So
I think that's what makes the difference, is it's all in the attitude. And I love what you said about taking advantage of it and using it as a tool, rather than whining about it, because you can really take people off guard.
Yes.
And they're like, whoa, wait a minute. You know how to hang sheetrock? Or
the best thing is being underestimated. I mean,
Yeah.
I've made probably millions of dollars off of the hair twirl clothes of like, what?
I
mean, I think it's a great position to be in. People constantly overestimate the male's intelligence in these situations, and they underestimate the females. Best place to be is in being underestimated. That's the absolute best place to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
They don't see you coming.
Yeah, completely unexpected.
It is. And so another challenge, I think, as women that we have as women is, we're in most cases the caregiver in our home as well, with the kids and, cleaning the house and going to the grocery store and all kinds of things like that our male counterparts don't always have to deal with. Now, I will say men are a lot more involved in their families. That Jonathan's very involved in his family.
I got called a real hands-on dad.
Yeah, he is. He actually caught his baby in the bathroom when she was born.
Wow.
That's a cool story.
That's great.
But I think, that's just another challenge that we have to deal with, to not only be great at what we do for a living, but also be mom and take care of the household, right?
Yeah. Well, and the other challenge I think I've had is being strong and opinionated can also come across as being not very nice.
Yeah, they call us itch bags.
Yeah, I have some nicknames around here, and I'm just a very direct person. Like, I will just walk right in someone's office. Okay, what do we got going on? And I've had to learn over the last few years to really work on my presentation a little bit, and know who I'm speaking to and how Lee and I work great together. We're both very direct. We took a personality test here, and funny enough, we were exactly the same, but not everybody communicates that way. So that's probably been my biggest challenge as a female, is really, still being strong and opinionated and, strong in my beliefs, but learning how to communicate with different types of personalities too. So
that's awesome.
Definitely benefits and definitely challenges for sure.
Mm-hmm.
That is where that predictive index test comes in very handy.
It was interesting.
Yeah, you know everyone's personality, and what's more important is how do you deal with those different personality types. Mm-hmm. And the worst part about our current society is that apparently our skin continues to get thinner and thinner.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Now, instead of trying not to be offended, people are looking for ways to be offended. And
that's their problem.
That's right.
No, I agree. We are who we are, and we love everyone. And if you don't love us, that's okay too.
Well, I have to tell this great story. My parents are 83 and they're going to Costco. I got to share this. They go into Costco. They're at the checkout line. There's a girl standing there bagging. She's got half her head shaved and she's got rainbow colors in her hair. And so my 83-year-old dad walks up and starts singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. She was a little miffed and walked away. And I'm thinking, gosh, if you're going to be that bold in your life, you need to be prepared to be sung to.
I think I'd really like your dad.
He's a great guy. I laughed. My mother was mortified, but I laughed. I thought it was pretty funny.
I like that.
So let's talk about some real estate investing real quick. Kristy, I know you've fixed and flipped a bunch of homes over your career, but you have this one story with a multifamily purchased in Dillon, South Carolina.
Oh, I know that.
Right.
Now.
Oh God.
Give us the 30,000 foot, the start and the current situation in that place.
Oh, I don't know if we actually have time for this story, but I'll do my best to keep it short. So I bought this property. It was 50% occupied. It was a total disaster. I mean, it wasn't, the units that weren't occupied weren't habitable. So I bought it with the understanding that I was going to fix it up and rent it. And I bought it at auction. Numbers made all kinds of sense. I have done a lot of construction. I've run my own crews. So I wasn't worried about the fix up part, but I had no idea what I was getting myself into with the community part. Because the property manager that I met with was the current property manager, but little did I know that the property manager before her was actually a gang leader. And he put all of his gang members in the property, and they basically ran it as like this like criminal, like playground for criminal activity. And so once I started, well, actually the day that I bought it, there was a murder on the property. Somebody got shot and killed. And so it was Friday the 13th too, which I mean,
Nice.
could you imagine? And that same day, my mom actually went to the hospital by ambulance with no pulse. So it was like it was a great day. It was like the worst day of my life. But anyway, so then, we're trying to kick these people out. COVID hits. We got eviction moratoriums. I'm trying to get all these gang members off the property. We have cameras installed. We see everything that's going on with like gun deals. The cops are involved. That's why like none of this stuff was showing up in like crime reports, because the cops were literally being paid by all the gang leaders, by the gang members. So as we're kicking people out, we got threatened. Our lives got threatened. There was a video that we have of the guys. There's like 30 guys with AK-47s and AR-15s threatening my mom and I because we're kicking them out. And my mom like didn't even care. She was like, "No, you don't scare me." This woman is the OG. So anyway, so we're fixing the places up. We're dealing with dirty cops. They're not like 911 doesn't work in that neighborhood. They were not doing anything. They were not coming when we would call. They weren't helping us with evictions. They weren't helping us with the crime. So we just like took the matters in our own hands and just started doing things that I may or may not be able to talk about on this show to get people out. We evicted 30 people, all of whom we had at some level doing criminal activity. We built relationships with the magistrate. And then we had a building burned down. We had 12 buildings, now we have 11. One of them burned to the ground.
Wow.
And that was right after. It was right after we had just finished all of the fix-ups and the place was running great. And we were super happy. We got through the whole gang thing and all that stuff. And, but I mean, today, so the cops used to show up 4 times a day or get called 4 times a day. They haven't been there, I don't know, probably 6 months. They haven't been there in like 6 months.
That's amazing.
We have security. We got a security gate. We have cameras. It's mostly single women with children that live there. Everybody's passed background checks. We have a new property manager that isn't prostituting on the property for coke like the last one.
I need a side gig.
Even with that building burning down, which was the biggest building that we had, we increased our rent roll by, I just looked at it this morning actually, by 23,000.
Wow.
We increased our collections because we actually started charging, rubs and all kinds of other fees and stuff. And that got increased by 29,000. So wow. We are just rocking and rolling. Like it got to the point where we were sending out our numbers to brokers to sell it, and they didn't believe us. They didn't believe, like, our collections are at 97%. Whereas most of the other buildings in that area are down 25, 30%. You know, like they truly didn't, they thought we were fudging our numbers, which is like not what we do. So it's been a crazy ride. I mean, but you know, Bill, I have to give Bill a lot of credit, because when I was in the middle of all of that, like literally, I think the building had just burned down. And we had a dumpster fire that same day. I mean, it was some crazy, with somebody breaking in, trying to light the other place on fire. It was ridiculous. And he's like, well, it sounds like you're almost on the other side. Just keep going. And I'm like, I'm quitting. I'm out. I can't do this anymore. I'm really done. But when he's told me that, you know what, I was like, you know what, I just keep going. Like, he's right. We're almost on the other side. We just kicked everybody out. Like, we've got to see this thing through. And, you know, we had a mission when we started to be able to provide, you know, safe and clean housing for, you know, people in the lower income brackets. We don't have very many HUD people. We only have 5% HUD. So they're all working class people, and they deserve decent housing. So, you know, we had a mission, and we wanted to quit almost on a daily basis, but we didn't. And my mom and I worked together, and it was like, we just laughed because we were just like, you can't even make this stuff up. Like, it was so ridiculous.
That's amazing.
So yeah, we have it under contract now, for a profit, which is also amazing. So yeah, it's been quite the journey.
That's amazing.
I was thinking about your mom, part of those threats, and she doesn't care. And she's like, you just wait till I get out of back surgery. I'm going to come back and kick your ass.
I know, like, she literally, so everybody on the property was packing except for her. And she was literally just went up to one of the guys and was just like, you don't scare me, but if you mess with my daughter, you're going to have a bad day. And I'm like, Mom, you don't talk to people like that. Like, literally, these are like people that kill people. Like, what are you doing? But yeah, I mean, it was pretty crazy.
But what it does is it goes to show you that you don't have just high crime in urban areas in the big cities. This is Dillon, South Carolina.
It's a dinky place on the way to the beach.
It is. Yeah.
Not a place you would think that would happen. Heather,
can you beat that?
No, but it sounds like a property we now own in Louisiana, so I might need to call you for some advice.
Yeah, we'll just come down there. We'll clean it up.
Did your mom contract out for that type of work, or?
We've actually been asked by a lot of people to help other people turn around properties that are having the same problems.
Yeah, so, we just took a property back in Louisiana, and I think it's been broken to 3 times in the last 2 weeks. I'm like, wow. What is going on? Now they're in the property and have locked it from the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
take the doors off.
Here we go. Yeah. So, yes, I seriously might be calling you for some advice.
Yeah. There are some things we could talk about off air.
Okay.
So, Heather, I know that Lee was, and I'm sure currently is, involved in teaching people real estate investing. And I know he used to do those bus tours where they'd bring people in, show them how to rehab a house and that type of thing. With that in mind, what is it that you and your husband typically invest in yourselves?
Well, we've done the fix and flip. I had this great idea that we were going to be like Chip and Joanna. That was not actually the case. It's not as glamorous as it looks on TV, I found out. But, you know, we're kind of those people that roll our sleeves up. We're laying tile, hanging sheetrock, which is great. But, you know, we quickly realized that our time was more valuable than doing that. So lessons learned, hire it out. Get in and out of them as quick as you can. And we've done well. You know, we have a couple rentals now. We actually own a little rental here in downtown Coeur d'Alene, which has doubled in value in 2 years. So that was a really good project to get in. It's just a little house. The Coeur d'Alene area, as you mentioned, Bill, is just a hot market. It has become very popular. But, you know, what we're looking into now is self-storage because there is so much growth in this community. And there are so many people moving here. One, there is a housing shortage. And 2, you know, there are a lot of people looking for self-storage units. And we discovered this when we started looking for one. and realized there was not a lot out here. So I think we're moving from more of the, we both have full-time jobs. And so the real estate investing is just something we're doing on the side. So we need to look at other options that are a little more passive for us. One of the things that I feel really thankful for is through the different projects that we've been involved with, we always had our kids do it with us. And our oldest son is a fireman, and we're like, this is a perfect opportunity. I mean, you don't just have one job anymore. You have, your everyday full-time job if you're not a full-time investor, but you can do things like this on the side to create wealth and additional income for yourself. So if all we gained from doing those projects was showing our kids an example of hard work and what kind of opportunities are out there, then it was all worth it for us.
Well said.
But yeah, we've got a couple of rentals, but we are definitely going to move more towards the passive side and look at maybe more self-storage units, just kind of exploring that option right now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we all love self-storage.
Yeah.
And I say this a lot. As Americans, we value our $500 worth of junk, and
Our
we'll
stuff.
spend $200 a month for 3 years to store $500 worth of stuff. And in my case, I have to have mine heated and air conditioned because my $500 worth of stuff is very important, and I want it to be
Good
comfortable while it's waiting for me to come visit it. Ladies, thank you so much for joining
It's
us.
been awesome.
Yeah, it was a
Heather,
pleasure.
if anybody wants to get in touch with you about possibly investing in, you guys have a couple of funds, right?
We have a couple funds. We have an accredited investor fund, and super exciting is we actually have a non-accredited investor fund. So anybody can go into it, and it's got a very small minimum of $1,000. So it's really good for, people that are just starting to invest, or if you have really small balance like IRAs and 401ks, it's a great option for that. So you can always get a hold of me at our website at securedinvestmentcorp.com. And I'd love to talk with, anybody more about that if they have interest in that.
Awesome.
Excellent. So you're going to get on the Robinhood app?
Well, I would love to.
I bet, yeah.
That would be awesome. Kristy, do you have any funds that people can invest with you, or are you taking on any kind of joint ventures or anything like that?
So we don't have a fund set up. Everything that we do is self-owned, but we are actually venturing into that after we've had, great success in our investments. And for me, I've always liked to lose my own money first and then figure things out on my own before investing other people's money. So we're going to be starting a fund, but if people want, we're still looking to acquire more assets. We actually have a 1031 that's coming up. So if people have properties for us to look at, to buy, to wholesale, they can reach me. They can direct message me on Instagram at the Kristy Moore. They can also find me on our website at KristyMooreTeam.com and on Facebook as well. So I'm happy to talk to anybody about investing or buying some assets that they're looking to unload that they can't handle. We're more than happy to take those over.
Any particular part of the country you're looking to purchase in?
So we invest mainly in the Southeast as well as Tennessee and Ohio.
All right.
Awesome.
Excellent. Well, we'll make sure we have that information over in the comment section, so that'll be on the platform, and it will be there in perpetuity.
Yes.
So thanks again for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. It's great
Thank
to see
you.
you.
I can't wait to see you guys because I know it won't be too long. Folks, thank you so much for joining us on the Passive Accredited Investor Show. That was a lot easier for me to say this time.
Yeah.
We are Carolina Capital Management. We are lenders in the real estate business for real estate investors. If you're interested in borrowing money, go to carolinahardmoney.com. Click on the Apply Now tab.
That's the one.
If you're a passive investor looking for passive returns, click on the Accredited Investor tab. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, and don't forget to sign up with Wednesday with Wendy.
Mm-hmm.
It's been awesome. We'll see you guys next week, hopefully, after this last conversation I just had. Y'all take care.